Capoeira flow.
Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Today I'm here to talk about something very important. We all know how important it is to stretch after we train. We all want to improve our flexibility, and to do so you have to stretch every day. But I also know how hard it is to motivate ourselves to do it. It doesn't matter how great the session you had. It's very hard to go there and do a full body stretch properly. We always rush into something, but it is important. If you want to improve, if you want to carry on training for longer, make sure you stay healthy, stay safe, you have to stretch. And from now on, you won't have this excuse anymore because you're not alone. I have this video now. Every time you train, you go on Capoeira Flow website and you find this video, save it so we can train together. So I'm gonna be doing a full body stretch from the beginning to the end. Every step of the way I'll be doing with you real time. So no excuse anymore. Let's train together. Let's help each other out to keep ourselves motivated to train. It's very important and it's gonna benefit you to make sure you can train and you're strong. It's not just about being strong enough to do a specific movement or a specific sports. You have to have flexibility as well. And now you have it. Now you have me to push you and you're gonna be pushing me as well. So every time you do a stretch, let me know how you feel so we can carry on improving. So let's do it, guys. Let's stretch together. Nice, everyone. Let's do this together. So I will start to stretching my right leg, so my hip flexors. So I'll make sure my hips are in line. And I'm gonna bend my knee as far as I can. Nice and control slowly. And I should feel the stretch here on the hip flexor. Yeah, ideally I wanna keep my leg as straight as possible. You probably gonna bend the knee a little bit, but you wanna keep as straight as possible so you keep that tension going. And to increase, you can bring the arms up and just hold, breathe in, breathe out. Every time I breathe out, I'm gonna try to lower myself if I can. If not, you just hold there, ideally for over 30 seconds, and also try to keep your knee stable as well, the front leg, you're not shifting it from one side to the other. So make sure it's comfortable. At the beginning, just holding. Some people be able to hold for longer, but ideally at least 30 seconds. Then after that, I'm going to be stretching the back of my leg, the hamstring, the glutes, and all that. Start again through the glutes on my right leg. So I'm going to bring my arms in between my legs and my feet are flat on the floor. And I'm gonna sit back slowly, gradually. I can increase and try to keep your feet flat on the floor. Don't lift off the ground. And to increase, you can try to bring your head towards the knee. You can hold onto the trousers if you're wearing something that you can grab to, on the leg. Ideally as well, another 30 seconds more if you can. If not, at least 30 seconds. And ideally, the more you hold, the better, but within 30 seconds to 45 seconds, it's enough. On the other side now, same idea. So I keep my hip straight, back leg on my toes. I can go straight by stretching my hand over my head, or I can just literally go and bend my front leg first. Keep the tension on the back leg, so ideally my leg is as straight as possible, and then I can increase by leaning back and extending my arms up, trying to hold nice and steady. Keep breathing in, breathing out. Every time that you get used to that position, you can try to lower yourself a little bit more. You will be holding this for at least 20 to 30 seconds. And once you get used to it, now we're gonna go to stretch the back of the leg. So now in that case, I'm gonna be stretching my left leg as I did on the other side. So I'm gonna be bending my right leg and keeping the back leg, on that case is my left leg, straight. So for those that do capoeira, you understand the term of the meio de compasso. So it's almost if you're gonna do a meio de compasso from the back leg. So I'll be bending my right leg and keep my left leg straight, so you can feel the stretch at the back of the leg, and is you sitting back as far as you can. And also you can just balance and see how comfortable you are as you progress. To increase, as usual, as I showed on the other side, you're going to be bringing your head towards the knee, grab on the trousers, grab wherever you can reach, and hold that for at least 20 to 30 seconds. So we done both sides. Ideally, you can repeat this process again more than once if you want. I'm gonna show another variation. You can do the same thing, or you can try to do this, and this is just another way you can increase as well. So it'll be hard to see because I'll be in front of it, but basically I'm gonna keep my hips forward and I'll be bending my left leg on that case all the way as far as I can, but I'm gonna try to lower myself to try to ideally touch my elbows on the ground. But to do that, I'm gonna be raising my heel off the ground, and every time I drop my heel back to the floor again, I'm gonna lower myself and I don't come back up past that point anymore. So I keep myself low and repeat the process 3 to 4 times max, and then you hold, and then I can reach and slide my hand further up until I be able to touch my elbow on the ground. Holding again for at least 20 seconds ideally. If I can reach the elbow, great, hold there. If not, you just keep towards working towards that. Keep breathing in, breathing out. Every time I breathe out, I'm gonna lower myself out. Now if I'm gonna do on the other side, I'm gonna first stretch my quads. I can just sit back on that leg there if that doesn't hurt your knee. I can try to reach with my opposite hand to the leg that's straight, and then grab, loosen up a little bit, and then I'm gonna do on the other side. So again, make sure it's soft and comfortable for you to place your knee. Keep your hip straight. You don't want to be on an angle. You can just lean, go as far as you can. When you feel the stretch on the hip flex there, I'm going to reach for the ground. And as you can see, I'm going to lower myself every time I lift my elbow up. So I'm going to get a bit closer so you can see it. So I lift and then lower myself. Lift and then lower myself. And it will take time for you to get used to it, so practice it slowly. Don't go more than you feel comfortable with, and slowly you're gonna progress, and slowly you're gonna reach to increase that stretch there. When you get to your limit, can't go any further, you just hold and wait for as long as you can. Ideally 20 seconds, 30 seconds ideal as well. So if you can hold longer, great. And you can repeat that process a couple of times. And now I'm gonna sit back on my leg, so you can stretch there, just to loosen up a little bit, but my always supporting the weight on my arms. Grab my feet if I can reach with the opposite arm, or I can grab the trousers. Or you can also keep the pressure off that sitting back on the leg if that hurts, but keep the leg straight as well, my hips in line, and then I can just go with the opposite arm and trying to bring my chest down, trying to touch my leg, my head towards the knee. If you have a bit more time, you can hold this for a little bit long, and the more you do, the more you get used to it. So you should feel the stretch at the back of your leg there, the hamstring, the calves, and you can progress from there as you feel comfortable with it. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the sumo squat to stretch. So I'm gonna be pointing my toes to the side and trying to bend your knee in the same direction that your toes are facing. So go as far as you can. You can use your arm to push or hold your leg as wide as you can. And just again, hold, wait, keep breathing in and out. Every time you feel like, okay, I'm comfortable with that position, you can try to increase a little bit more, trying to sit down a little bit lower if you can. But the whole point is just make sure you're feeling the stretch and it's safe to do so. Don't go more if it's really hurting. Just take it easy and don't push it too far. And it's a pain that you're not familiar with, loosen up a little bit, go easy at the beginning. Ideally you want to be doing this every day, or at least every time that you train. So it's practice and will take time for you to get used to it. This is another stretch that I really like as well. So I'm going to be sliding my leg as much as I can, and then I'm going to try to lean on my elbow. If I can't reach with my elbows, you can just keep just the arm you will increase, you will improve your flexibility and getting more comfortable with it. I'll make sure you keep your feet flat on the floor, so your knees as well is not bent. So I try to keep my legs straight as possible, so you should be feeling the stretch on the hip. At the beginning it's very uncomfortable, but you get used to that, and the longer you hold, the better it is. The other way as well, after 20 seconds, 30 seconds at least, you can lean back, and then you can just listen, bend from one side, bend to the other side to loosen up a little bit, shake it off a little bit, and then you can repeat the process again. If you can do that 2 to 3 times, it's perfect. If you can't, you don't have the time, you rush into something, at least once for 60 seconds ideally, but at least 45 seconds. And again, if you can do this every day, it will be ideal, but if you can't, at least every time that you train. Okay, let's go to our second round. And again, if you can do more than 2, even better, but let's focus on this now. You should go a little below on the second time. The more you do it, the more loose you feel. And if you couldn't reach to the elbow the first time, it might be the case that you can after a while. And just holding, and then you learn how to enjoy this. And again, I'm gonna show, see, I'm supporting my weight, and then I'm gonna sit back. The reason I like this, because also this was my limit, so I can go as far as I can and then sit back. And once you sat down, you will be feeling a lot tension on the hamstring. It's normal, but I want to loosen up, so I'm trying to shake myself up a little bit, trying to circling around. And if you're gonna lower yourself, make sure your back is straight. You're not trying to arch your back to trying to get to the floor. The idea is lower yourself, but properly, by maintaining your back as straight as possible. So a good technique that I use, I lean from one side by shifting my hip, and then lean to the other side. So to loosen up the hips, you can swing from one side to the other, just so you can get a little bit mobility there, do circles from one way to the other. Don't need to go too far down, just a little bit, just to create that movement on the hip. And then every time I'm gonna lean to one side, and when I come back, I release and try to go low. And you can repeat that process both sides as many times as you want, but it's very important as well, if you can time it with your breathing, it's very helpful. So I lean to the side, and as I'm gonna release and try to go low, I breathe out. And you keep repeating 3-4 times both ways. And if that's as far as I can go, I just hold there. By having my hands down the floor, it helps me to hold my balance as well. This is one of the strengths. If you can hold for longer, for more than a minute, will be ideal, but it all depends on your time and all that. But if you're in a hurry, at least 45 seconds, and at least twice. And once you're done that, you come back again. My leg will be under the tension there. That's good. You can shake it off a little bit, but I tend to kind of hold the position, and then I'm gonna lean to the side. I try to point my toes, so that forces me to keep my leg straight and not bent, so I don't bend my knees. And then I'm gonna try to aim to lean towards my knee, but not just the head. I wanna ideally try to lean my chest. So if you can grab your toes, you're gonna try to grab both hands together. So you're gonna try to intercross your fingers on your foot, so that force the stretch on your shoulder as well. And then every time I breathe out, I'll just lower myself down, but not just the head, but my chest as well. So you can breathe in, breathe out, and then I can lower myself. If you can, hold for at least 30 seconds, and then you do the same process on the other side. Now to do this at the other side will be the same thing. If I can grab my feet, great. If not, I can hold onto my ankle, or my leg, or my trousers. The idea of holding on something is to make sure you don't keep coming back up, and you don't release the tension there on the leg. And as you can do this, the more you do, the more you're gonna improve and get used to it. And if you can hold for longer than 30 seconds, great. If not, you're trying to work yourself up to that at least. and try to lower yourself. So you should feel the stretch on your back as well there. So you're stretching to the side. And if you can rest your chest on top of your leg, ideal. And you can just keep pushing and holding there. Keep breathing throughout the stretch as well. So you feel the tension going throughout your whole leg, exactly where you're stretching. And keep breathing. Deep breath in, release from the mouth, breathe in through the nose and release from the mouth. And eventually start to enjoy that stretch, and you feel the tension going throughout the whole leg while you're doing it. As I'm doing this with you, I'm going to repeat the same process. This time you should you should feel like you can go a little bit further down, and you can just push the hips a little bit more. In my case, I'm going to try to max it out, go as far as I can, keep that tension there, and I'm going to repeat the process. Lean into one side, breathe out, go down. And as you can see, my hand is always on the ground, so I can always hold myself there. If I can't go any further, at least I hold that position there for as long as I can. Keep breathing throughout the exercise and hold. Nice and control. If you can hold this for 60 seconds or over, brilliant. Some people, they sat in front of the TV. Some people, they just read a book on that position. And eventually that position doesn't hurt so much, and it becomes like a good type of pain. And you can increase your flexibility the longer you can hold. And that's going to benefit you so much throughout your training, and make sure your muscles stay safe and stay flexible so you don't ache too much on the next day. So the more you do the practice, ideally you want to do this 3 times, this whole routine 3 times. I'm going to go again to lean to the side, but slightly different. So now if I'm leaning to my right, I'm going to get my right arm and go on the opposite side. So my top arm, on that case my left arm, is going to be leaning over my head, or ideal, I'm going to try to aim to grab my foot if I can reach. If I cannot reach, I can just grab on my leg, on my trousers, wherever I can get hold of. So it stop me to keep coming back again and keep like going up and down. So you want to go to as far as you can and hold the position. After a little while, you're going to get used to the position. Then you can try to increase. You can try to go lower, or potentially even go to your toes to hold. But if not, keep grabbing on the leg and keep pushing throughout. Remember to keep breathing. And every time ideally I breathe out, that's the time I'm going to release the tension a little bit and then go down. So I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. And you feel that's normal sometimes, that one side is tighter than the other. We use one side more than the other, so it's only fair that one side you're going to get more tight. So for that reason, if you're tight on one side, I would advise that you hold for a little bit longer on that side if you can. So just to try to even the muscles, and then they stretch and the flexibility up a little bit. Same idea, you aim for your toes or grab on the leg and hold for at least 30 seconds. When you're going to close the leg, slowly, because you've been holding that leg on that tension for at least 2 to 3 minutes there if you're doing those exercises in a row. Bend the knees, swing back and forth just slightly so you can get the mobility again. But if you can repeat this every day, it's going to be amazing for you. Right, now that you've done a lot on the hips and the back of the leg, you can sit back in between the exercise like I just did now, so you can just enjoy that, loosen up a little bit. And I'm gonna try to stretch more on my quads as well. You can do this standing, but I'm gonna show if you have like a mat or something that's comfortable for you to lean on, you can do this. And again, there is a lot of ways you can increase this, but I'm gonna try to show a stretch where you can do where that you don't have anything, you can just rely on you. So I'm gonna try to grab my foot there. You might find that's hard for you to reach. You can grab a towel or a piece of clothes or something like that, your jumper, so you can lean to hold on to your foot. And as you go, you're gonna lean forward. It's not about just get that back leg towards your glutes there. It's about leaning forward, and then you can increase. But the more I lean forward, you can even rest on my front leg, but I keep that tension there on my quads, on my hip flexors there, and I can always increase by pulling the leg towards my glutes there, towards my hamstring. but I'm always keeping the tension, always lean as far as I can with that leg that's on the ground, and also by leaning my opposite leg forward. If you want to increase as well, you can try to grab with both hands. If you can't reach because your shoulders are tight or something like that, you can always use a towel, you can always use um, something, a jumper or something like that. If I'm going the other side again, I can slowly grab and reach my foot. Ideally you can. If not, you can even, for those that do capoeira and have the cord, the rope, the belt, you can always use that as well. There's a good one to grab onto. And note that I'm leaning my hip down and then I'm pulling the legs, not just pulling the leg and keep um, and don't keep the tension on the hip. And if I can grab with both hands, great. And you can keep leaning forward towards that front leg, so you can increase and you can push that stretch as much as you can, and hold for a good 30 seconds at least. If you can hold for a bit longer, even better. And you can repeat that process like 2 to 3 times. Ideally the same amount of times that you did doing the other stretch, you want to repeat. If I did for my hips 3 times in a row, so I do this 3 times in a row. Now another great stretch that I like to do every time that I train, I'm going to show you now. Again, depends on your flexibility. There is many ways you can do this. But ideally, as you can see, I'm going to try to keep that 90-degree angle on my leg. And I'm going to try to push my knee down all the way until I can touch the floor. If you cannot do that, if this is as far as you can go, that's fine. As long as you feel that stretch there on the glutes and it's not hurting your knee. I normally use my arm as well to hold my leg so I don't change or don't slide down. Okay, the other way to do it, if that's too much, you can just bring to that S shape there and you're trying to lower yourself into the onto the floor. Yeah, let me show you from the front angle here so you can understand a bit more. So I'm there on the S shape there, so I can push my my front leg past my chest, and every time I lean to the side I can lower myself. So I can always use that, the same technique I was using earlier for my hip I can use for this as well. That's going to help on your hips as well, but also on your glute stretch, and you can do this 3 to 4 times. If that's too easy for you, you already got a good range of flexibility there, so you can go onto the back leg on your toe, so almost like you're gonna try to keep all the way underneath your hip. For me, I can't get all the way there yet, but I can extend the leg to get a stretch. So I keep my front leg flat on the floor and my back leg touch the ground there, but I make sure I'm square onto my front leg to go down. So I go there and try to reach as much as I can and make sure that 90-degree angle is there on my leg. Make sure it's not hurting on your knee. Make sure you're feeling the stretch on your glute, and you can always increase by extending the arm so it's less support of the arms there, so you can try to lay all your weight on top of that front leg. And also if you want to increase, you can go across a bit more with the leg. Now let me show on the other side. So same idea. It depends each way I decide to do. If I just want to do like that S shape there where my back leg is kind of bent as well, you can do that. And remember to lean into one side, holding my foot with my arm there, so I make sure my foot doesn't slide. So as my arm there is locking my front leg so it doesn't close or doesn't go back to it, especially if you're trying to even both sides up. You're probably going to have one side tighter than the other, so I suggest that the side that's tighter, you hold the stretch for a bit longer. Again, 45 to 60 seconds at least if you're trying to increase and improve your flexibility. So I'm going to do again on the other side. As I said, if I done all the other exercises stretch, I done three rounds. I do 3 rounds on this. If I done two rounds. Or if you find that you tight on one side or on your glutes, and then you can maybe do more on this as well. So on that case, obviously for me to feel a good stretch, I can't keep my back leg completely straight just yet, but I can almost get as far as I can, and I can extend my arm and lower my weight. If I want to increase, I want to go to the opposite of my on my feet on the front leg. Yeah, trying to hold for as long as you can, ideally 45 to 60 seconds. And now repeat the same process on the other side. So I go on top of my leg, lower my front leg first, and then I drop my back leg. So my back leg is always supported on the floor as well. And then I try to rest my chest on top of my front leg. And to increase, I can extend my arms if I can. If not, just hold there and keep breathing throughout the exercise. Breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth, and hold it for as long as you can, but at least 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Now that we have stretched the hips, the glutes, the legs, let's make our way up to the back. Take it easy on this. If you have a lower back problem, or if you have any injuries, or if it hurts when you're doing this, you can start by very gently, but just literally bring support in your back with your arms and legs, and just leaning forward a little bit. Let the weight drop. If that hurts, come back, hold for less, release a little bit, and then repeat the process a couple of times. Eventually, you should feel more comfortable and be able to hold for longer. I don't agree of not stretching the back. If you have a back problem or something like that, like myself, what helped me a lot was stretching. You can increase by doing the dive bridge if you can, but if your arms are tired from the workout, you can just do what we just did before. You can go straight into the bridge without diving in. And again, try to hold for a good like 15 to 20 seconds. If you can't, build your way up to that. The next stretch to increase, to progress to that, is the bridge. And go easy at the beginning. As you can see, my fingers are facing my shoulder, and I don't lift too far off the ground. I just literally lift my hip first, so I get used to it, and then I get the rest of my body up. If this is as far as I can go, that's where I'm gonna start, and wait for as far as I can until I can improve and I can get better. And the more you do this, the more you can increase. And just repeat the process over and over again, and make sure you feel comfortable with it. And when you're gonna do it again, just go easy again. If you can only go as far as you could last time, that's fine. Just hold it. The key is holding and repeating yourself as much as you can. And ideally, you want to hold for 10, 15, 20 seconds, and no pressure. Make sure it doesn't hurt your back. And to loosen up as well between sets, you can just do some back rolls, scrub your knees, and just let slowly roll back, nice and comfortable. Make sure you have a mat so you don't hurt your back when you're doing this. And you can either repeat the process again, and you should potentially increase every time the holding time, or even like if you can go further up, and just keep breathing and relax, and just repeat the process as many times as you need to improve. And just make sure you're not feeling any pressure on your lower back, or not any discomfort on your back when you're doing that, and just take it easy. By doing those exercises as well, it will help you to gain flexibility on your shoulders as well. Sometimes you are flexible on the back, but not so much on the shoulder, or vice versa. And keep repeating this. I'd suggest at least 3 to 4 times every time you're gonna stretch. But let's keep moving up. Let's stretch the shoulders now. So I'm gonna show this is one of the basic ones, so you can just bring your arm across the chest and hold it. Keep that tension there on the shoulder for at least 20 seconds, because the shoulder is a smaller muscle compared to like the quads or your hips or things like that. You can hold for a little bit less, but 20 to 30 seconds is good. If you can do that 2 to 3 times, will be great, and you're gonna see some great results after a couple of weeks. So repeat on both sides. So on the other side will be the same thing. Keep the tension. As you can see, my arm is completely like I'm pulling across my chest, and I'm using the other hand to make sure I don't relax or release. I would personally do this at least twice on each side. 3 times is ideal, but again, hold for 15-20 seconds at least, and that should be a great help for you, especially if you had like a heavy session, like lifting weights, or even if you did a lot of like upper body strength exercise. So I would repeat this twice at least. And keep breathing throughout the exercise as well. And I'm going to show you another exercise that you can do it for the shoulder, and to make sure you loosen doesn't ache and help you to release that tension. So you can just lift the arm and you can pull with the other arm. Keep your head facing straight, facing up, so you can kind of push your arm back and maximize that stretch as much as you can. And as you can see, I keep holding that tension for throughout the stretch, 15 to 20 seconds again, and then I do on the other side. I know we're trying to stretch in a way without using an assistance from anything, but this is something very easy. You can grab a jumper or your belt if you do any martial arts or anything like that. So I will be using this. See, magic, I just made this appear. Ideally, you want something a bit longer than this, to be honest, if you're not very flexible with your shoulder, so you don't need to struggle to try to reach. But in this case, for me, it's just enough. But any shorter than that, I would struggle to grab it. And the arm that I have on the top is the one that's going to control the movement. I'm stretching the arm that's below or behind my back. So that's the one that's going to be like concentrating and pulling up. But by holding that, so I can just push and hold that tension there again. 20 to 30 seconds ideal. And this is great because eventually you'll be able to grab with both hands. But if you have a tight shoulder, for me, my shoulder is getting tighter and tighter. The more I train, like especially if I'm doing loads of handstands and headstands, I just get tighter and tighter and stretching. And this exercise is great for you. So you hold there for as long as you want. And if you want to switch side, you just slowly release, change the arm. And again, the arm that's going to be under the tension is the arm that's the lower arm. In that case, it will be my right arm. And I'll be using my left arm, my left hand to pull my arm up. And again, go easy if you have an injury on the shoulder or anything like that. You don't want to overdo it. Just hold as far as it's comfortable for you. And you just hold like for 20 seconds or 30 seconds, wherever you can, and you can repeat that process. It's really good, this exercise, and I'm sure it's going to be very beneficial for you throughout your training. Breathing, keep just stretching and relax. The next thing I'm going to do is go to the neck, so just loosen up a little bit, just looking over the shoulder, and then you grab the neck and pull down, but again, go slow on this, make sure it's not hurting. And I'm going to use the opposite arm and going to extend. Imagine you're going to push away from you, keep the tension on the arm, and it's slowly going to lower it. And when it's getting to the lower phase, when it's just about to touch your hip, you should feel more tension throughout the neck. Hold there for 10 to 15 seconds, doesn't need to hold too much, just to loosen up the neck a little bit. And then you can do that the same process on the other side. So you push away from you and slowly lower your arm. When it's getting close to the hip, you will feel a little bit more tension on the neck, and then just hold for 10-15 seconds there and relax. And then you pull the neck forward a little bit, just to loosen up. Great, everyone. This is it. Thanks for staying till the end. I know it's not easy to stretch, to motivate ourselves to do it, but it is very important. If you want to carry on training for much longer, to feel good every day that you will wake up, you got to do this as often as you can, or at least every time that you train. Now you don't have an excuse. I'll be there with you every time that you train. All you got to do is jump into the Capoeira Flow website, press play on this link, and let's stretch together. I guarantee you're going to see the benefits of this training very soon after you started. If you can do every day, you have no idea how much this is going to help you. I hope you enjoyed, guys, and I see you on the next one. Really hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button below. If you didn't, let me know in the comment how I can improve. Also tell me what type of videos you'd like to see next. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do, and I see you on the next one.